All right. So, just a couple of housekeeping. This is being recorded, so feel free to turn your camera off or leave it on, whatever feels right for you. We have closed captioning available, so if you need closed captioning, feel free to wiggle your mouse onto your toolbar, and you should see the closed captioning tool available to you. If you want to type anything in the chat, you are more than welcome, or we have a pretty small class today, so you can unmute as well. I really love hearing from you guys and getting to know you guys, so feel free to, like I said, unmute yourself or type in the chat, whatever feels right and comfortable to you. So with that being said, with our Fire Up for Summer Barbecues class, we're going to start with how you can find care and help at Bronson. So you can find doctor or search for a specialist by going to bronsonhealth.com/find-a-doctor or call the care advisors. There is My Chart Help at Bronson as well. You can call My Help, excuse me, you can call Bronson Health Answers, or you can send them an email. Payment billing help as well, call Bronson Patient Accounting, and to get a price estimate for Bronson services, you can call the price estimator team. All those numbers and emails are listed on this screen. They will be available at the end of this presentation as well, in case you want to double check on that and use this as a tool for yourself. So first, I always like to start my classes with a joke or a laugh. So I thought this pun was very cute and fitting for our barbecue class today. Let me be frank, that barbecues are the best. Type in the chat if you agree with this statement. Barbecues are fun, they're great, they're a great way to bring in summer. Type in the chat if you agree with that statement. Awesome, I'm loving seeing what I see in the chat. Yes, agree. Oh yes, fabulous. Good. All right, well, we are going to be talking about a couple of different things today. So you are going to be learning about the difference between barbecuing and grilling. Interesting that there is a difference. You're going to receive tips on how to make summer barbecues well done, going with the puns here today, and how to have fun, stay safe, and keep your summer health goals at your summer barbecues. And of course, we're going to leave you with a few healthy summer barbecue recipes that you might want to take with you to your next barbecue. And I do want to mention ahead of time, I didn't mention this at the beginning. If I'm coughing or if my voice goes in and out, I apologize. I'm fighting some crazy allergies right now. So I apologize if there's a little bit of a roughness in my voice today. But I will do my best. Okay. So to start off, I want to know from you guys, what is your favorite part about summer barbecues? Type your answer in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself. Like for me, it's definitely hanging out with my family and my friends. I see family togetherness. Yeah, definitely. Yummy summer comfort food. Oh yeah. There's something not quite like summer barbecue food. It's so good. I don't know. It's just like the barbecue in the summertime is just so much better than any other time of the year, right? All right, if you have anything else, feel free to continue typing that into the chat or unmuting yourself as we continue through this presentation if you needed to think about it for a second. Okay, so first and foremost, what is the difference between barbecuing and grilling? So here we have a definition from the OXO website, which a lot of people may know of them. So they said that you often hear the terms barbecuing and grilling used interchangeably. There's actually a big difference between the two. Barbecuing cooks food slowly and often incorporates sauces or marinades. It infuses a smoky taste and makes food extra tender. Meanwhile, grilling cooks ingredients quickly and is normally done with very little oil, resulting in that crispy, charred, caramelized surface and those picture-perfect grill marks. So that is the difference between the two, according to OXO. So I thought that was a very interesting little factoid there. So how can we enjoy summer barbecues, keep our goals, and still have a happy and healthy summer? So we're going to go through a couple of different tips. And so the first tip that I have for you is to make sure you clean your grill and utensils. I don't know if anybody here is at fault for not having a clean grill all the time. I know that sometimes I am. We actually got rid of a grill that we've had for a very long time last year. We had it for 10 years. And so we got rid of it last year. And it was like falling apart and rusted and not very clean. And so with this new grill that we have been keeping it clean. So is anybody here ever at fault for not ever keeping their grill completely clean? It's okay if not. I get it. All right, well, while you think about that, I want to tell you a little bit about why we should clean our grill and utensils to prep for our summer barbecues. So first of all, the way you clean your grill is really important. So there's a couple of different ways that you can clean your grill, using a moist cloth or a bunch of paper towels, or letting the grates soak in hot soapy water and then using a sponge to kind of clean it off that way, or a wooden grill scraper. Now, we advise to avoid metal brushes if possible. So I know a lot of times we see those metal brushes that are being sold at the store, and those are okay as long as you're being very careful and you're thoroughly inspecting your grill after you use them. The reason is because those metal brushes can actually, the bristles can actually fall off and they can like get dislodged, and then they can actually get stuck in food, especially if you're using like raw, hamburger or something like that. If you have a runaway metal bristle, that can get stuck in your hamburger meat or whatever type of thing. So if you are going to use a metal brush, just very thoroughly inspect the grill before adding your food to make sure that you're not getting metal into your food. Otherwise, those other options I mentioned are some really great ways that you can keep your grill clean as well. So the moist cloth, clean paper towels, letting your grates soak in hot soapy water, using a wooden grill scraper. Those are all some other ways that you can keep your grills clean. And then if you're using a charcoal grill, because I know not everybody uses gas, so if you're using a charcoal grill, making sure that you are removing those ashes and that old charcoal. And then if you, of course, have that gas grill, empty that kind of catch can from those greases, right? And then we want to clean these old grills, or we want to clean these grills up because we want to remove those old grill buildup bits. We don't want those to transfer to the food. And of course, it keeps our grill lasting longer, right? Oh, I see Denise here just bought a wooden grill scraper. Denise, do you love it? Awesome. All right, well, there you go, right there from a person in our class supporting the wooden grill scraper. So if you never looked into it, I highly recommend it. So those are just a couple of reasons why we want to make sure that we're cleaning our grill. And oh, my husband uses wadded up floor. Yeah, that's also definitely a good option too. Awesome. Thank you for sharing all these great tips. That's why I love these classes. I learn from you. It's fabulous. All right, so that was tip number 1. All right, tip number 2. Now, this one is important all year long, but it's really important, especially during barbecues, because I feel like at barbecues, many of us get very caught up in how fun barbecues are that we kind of put food safety on the back burner, and we don't really want to do that. So practicing food safety is really important all year long. But when you're at a barbecue, really important because we're usually outside at a barbecue and things can spoil faster in the hot summer heat. So a couple of ways to make sure that we're following proper food safety to keep yourselves healthy as well as your guests healthy at your barbecue. Of course, always washing our hands, our cooking utensils, our food preparation area, and the materials that we use to prep that food, and all of the surfaces that we use before we make our food as well. Making sure that we're washing all of those delicious fruits and vegetables, and keeping our raw meat separate away from ready to eat foods. So I recommend if you're gonna like do a barbecue at like a beach or a park or something like that, and you're gonna be bringing meat and some like side dishes of fruits and vegetables, I highly recommend putting them in separate coolers. So making sure that we're keeping those raw meats away from those ready to eat foods. Making sure we're not using the same utensils to put raw meat on the grill as we are using to take them off the grill. Being sure that we're cooking our foods to proper temperatures. So the proper temperatures for beef and pork and lamb and veal and steaks and roasts and chops is 145 degrees with a 3-minute rest time. Ground meats, which includes burgers and hot dogs, that's going to be 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Whole poultry, poultry breast, and ground poultry is going to be 165 degrees Fahrenheit, and fish is going to be 145 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you want to look more into this, the FDA has some really great resources for food safety. You can feel free to look them up. They have some really good information on that. And don't use leftover marinade from your meat or your fish to marinate your vegetables in. If you want to use the same marinade, marinate your vegetables with that marinade first and then use it for your meat and your fish. We really want to make sure we're being very careful about keeping the meat and the ready-to-eat foods away from each other. And then finally, keeping foods that need to stay cold, cold. So throwing out foods after 2 hours sitting at room temperature or 1 hour if it's 90 degrees or above. So, you know, a lot of times, like I was saying earlier, we get excited about barbecues and we're playing games and we're talking with our friends and family and stuff like that, that our food just kind of like sits out and people kind of come and grab. So I'm responsible for it at my family's get-togethers, but I recommend choosing somebody to be responsible to make sure that they're putting the food away at those proper times to make sure that they stay safe. So I know that there's been a couple of barbecues I've been at where my family is just leaving the food out and I'm like, okay, guys, like we need to put this food away. So I'm going to put it away. And if you want it, you can grab it out of the refrigerator or the cooler. Just because we don't want that sitting in the heat for too long, because that can make your food spoil quickly and then lead to food. So those are some tips for your food safety. Tip number 3, searing your meat for a few minutes and then cooking it low and slow. So according to the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, foods that are cooked with a very high heat can produce cancer-causing compounds called HCAs. Now, the fat from rich cuts of meat tend to drip into the flames, which produces more smoke and carcinogens. So to reduce your exposure to these elements, avoid breathing in smoke that's produced from the grill. Try grilling fish or lean poultry trimmed of any visible fat, veggie burgers, and a range of vegetables. Reducing your grill time, so fish, vegetables, and veggie burgers can cook quickly. Poultry or meat can be cut into small chunks for kebabs, seared, and then finished in the oven or put to a cooler part of the grill to finish cooking for a longer amount of time, making sure that we're still reaching that internal temperature that we need to for food safety. So making sure that we're doing that. Using a marinade, which has been a couple of research projects have been done to that some marinades can reduce the production of carcinogens. So some research suggests that specific ingredients like the acid from lemon or vinegars or herbs with antioxidant properties is a great way to do this. If you're serving meat, to avoid the charring meat or remove any charred parts before eating, and then wrapping the meat in foil, which can speed cooking time up and protect it from the smoke. So like I said, that is from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. So just a couple of things to be aware of when you are barbecuing and grilling. Now, I know this can be hard sometimes because, like, I don't know if you're like me, but I love those little charred marks. You know, if I'm eating a hot dog, I love those charred marks on my hot dog, but want to make sure that we're reducing the amount that we're eating of those things. And then I want to know from you guys, what is your favorite food to eat at a backyard barbecue? So we just mentioned a couple of different things: veggies, fish, chicken, meat, veggie burgers, and other things that I didn't even mention. So I want to know from you guys, what's your favorite food to eat at a backyard barbecue? Feel free to unmute or type in the chat. Brats. Oh yes, my family loves brats. I am not a huge fan of them. I'll eat them, but I think I'd rather have a hot dog than a brat. Cheeseburger, yep, good, good. Burgers, yeah, all of these are really, really good. I love them. That's really good. I love hearing what everybody likes to eat because I think it's so awesome and so cool to me that everybody's taste buds are different. I feel like there's so much food to explore and so many different types of food to learn about, and it's really fun to try these different types of food. So thank you everybody for sharing that. Fabulous. Okay, moving on. Oh, I got kebabs, both steak and chicken with vegetables on separate sticks. Yes, that sounds amazing. Thank you everybody for sharing. Well, speaking of these delicious barbecue foods and how we make them and cook them at our barbecues on grills. So when we are grilling, we want to make sure that we are supervising the grill use and practicing grill safety. Who has ever heard of grill safety before? All right, so there are lots of ways that we want to stay safe and have fun at these barbecues, right? And one way we can stay safe is by practicing these grill safety. So making sure we're never leaving our grills unattended, keeping pets and kids away from grills, that can be really dangerous for them. Not grilling in enclosed areas. So making sure that we're grilling outside, away from lots of things. So making sure we're not grilling inside a tent or grilling inside a house or grilling inside a camper. We want to make sure we're doing this outside. Being sure that we are using proper grilling equipment. So tongs that are made for a grill, not just grabbing a fork from your little drawer and then using a fork to turn things over. So these actual, grill utensils are made specifically to help keep the griller safe when they are cooking these foods. The tongs are made really long because you're cooking over this open fire. So making sure we're using the proper utensils, and then making sure we're keeping our grill far enough away from our house, because we don't want that to spread obviously to the house, which could potentially cause a fire. So making sure that we are being safe and aware of where our grill is placed, and making sure we always have it attended, and making sure that people that are around the grill are supposed to be around the grill and using what they need to properly grill. So just a couple of really important safety tips there. Tip number 5, choosing a variety of foods. So when you think of a barbecue, what foods do you guys think of? Type it in the chat or unmute yourself. Hamburgers and hot dogs. What else do you guys think of? Grilled corn on the cob. Yes, I love grilled corn on the cob. That is probably one of my favorite grilled foods, actually. Okay, if you think of any more, feel free to type in the chat or, of course, unmute yourself. So when we're talking about barbecues, there are a lot of people think about those common things: burgers, hot dogs, wraps, when it comes to grilling. But there are so many other things that you can grill. So one of the tips to keep our health goals is to try grilling colorful fruits and vegetables. So you can see here how beautiful these grilled fruits and vegetables look. So there are tons of fruits and vegetables that you can grill. You can grill fish as well. You can actually even grill tofu on a kebab. So if you're a vegetarian or you like to eat plant-based, tofu is a great way to get that protein grilled as well. So kind of experimenting and playing around with all those variety of foods. So we know, if you've been to any of our classes, that eating a variety of foods is one way that we can keep our bodies healthy, and feel good and have energy and all of that. So when we're choosing a variety of foods all throughout the whole entire year, we can also choose a variety of foods when we are attending those summer barbecues. Which leads me to my next point of loading our plate with fruits and vegetables first. So we all know that when we're at barbecues, there are like a plethora of so many different dishes to choose from, right? I mean, I know that when I go to a barbecue, I see plates upon plates upon plates of different types of foods. So when we are here, and we know that fruits and vegetables are really important, you can incorporate them and give them a place at your barbecue. So if you put them on your plate first. And if you eat those first, they'll fill you up quicker, first of all, which makes reaching for that third hamburger a lot easier to pass on. And they also make a delicious side that's loaded with nutrients that are good for you. So there's fruit salad, there's corn on the cob, there's house salad, there's homemade coleslaw, there's grilled corn on the cob, or I already said corn on the cob, but yeah, there's grilled artichokes, there's Brussels sprouts. Like there's so many different ways that we can incorporate fruits and vegetables into our barbecue. And when you're filling up your plate with those fruits and vegetables, then you'll have, that really good dose of vitamins and minerals on your plate, as well as some of those other things. So when you're eating meat like hamburgers or hot dogs or whatever it might be at your barbecue as well, you can also add vegetables to those. So piling on your lettuce or your tomatoes or your onions or whatever you like to eat on your burgers and your hamburgers is also another great way to incorporate fruits and vegetables at your barbecue. Now, what we like to say, before I move to my next point, what's your favorite side dish at a barbecue? What is your favorite side dish? If I had to choose, I would have a hard time between grilled corn on the cob, potato salad, fruit salad. Grilled corn on the cob, baked beans, corn. Yes, yes. So good. My grandma used to make this thing, she'd called it veggie pizzas, and she'd bring it to all of our barbecue cookouts, and it was so good. It was like this bread, and then she layered it with like this, I don't know, combination of some kind of sauce, and then she loaded it with broccoli and carrots and peppers and onions, and then topped it with some cheese. That was my favorite. Oh my goodness, I could eat that all day long. All right, potato salad. Yes, yes, these are all delicious and good side dishes. So with that being said, I do want to make sure, tough between fruit and corn. Yes, so many choices at barbecues. It's so hard to choose a favorite. I mean, you can have multiple favorites, right? Watermelon, yes. So I want to mention to let yourself indulge sometimes. So we mentioned in all of our classes that everything fits into your diet. So it's all about balance, and completely taking foods out of your diet unless absolutely necessary for a medical issue or whatever it might be can lead to a lot of kind of overeating and binging and this whole yo-yo back and forth type of thing. So making sure we're letting ourselves indulge. Everything fits into our diet as long as you're balancing it out. Still eating all those lovely fruits and vegetables and whatnot, and it's totally okay to have that hot dog or that brat or that hamburger or this potato chips or that cake or whatever it might be at that barbecue as well. So enjoy your food, have fun with the people that you love, and understand that indulging is really okay every now and again. Now, if you're really, really worried about going off track, you've been doing so good, you don't want to go down this, hill or whatever, then choose a smaller plate, choose a smaller portion. Or maybe eat a burger open faced or eat food on a kebab. So there's lots of different ways that you can still allow yourself to do this. So we definitely want everybody to understand at all of our classes that everything in moderation. That's what we like to say, everything in moderation, right? So loading up with those fruits and vegetables, and then also allowing yourself to indulge every now and again with those sometimes foods. Okay, we just have a few more tips. Maybe. Okay, tip number 8, making sure that we are staying hydrated. So drinking water is always important throughout the whole entire year, right? But it's especially important when we are in hot climates, which when we're eating at barbecues in the summertime, that is usually a more warm time of year, right? Now, if you're leaving the house for a barbecue, one way that you can make sure that you're staying on track with your hydration goals is to bring a refillable water bottle with you and then keep a water jug in a cooler for people to refill their waters. Or one of those big coolers, you can bring one of those big water coolers as well. I know that when we're camping, we have this really cool thing that we do. So instead of buying those plastic water bottles, what we do is we buy, a couple of big jugs of those, waters. And then what we do is we all bring our own refillable water bottles or, all refillable cups, whatever those might be. And then we also have a separate clean cooler with ice. So if you are in a really hot day and you really want that ice cold water, then you can refill your refillable water bottle with your ice and then pour in your water. And then you're good to go. And you got water at your fingertips all the time. There's also a couple other options you can do for hydration as well. I mean, unsweetened beverages like an iced tea or flavored water is also a great way to make sure we're staying hydrated. And then, of course, alcohol is something that is usually at many barbecues, right? So just making sure we're paying attention to how much of that you're drinking. So limiting your alcohol intake because we know that dehydrates you. And if you're in a really hot climate and you're, forgetting to, drink water and you're drinking a lot of alcohol, that can be bad news. And so making sure that we're limiting that alcohol or being aware of what we're drinking. And then, of course, making sure that we're drinking that water or those other types of beverages that can help keep our hydration up. Which leads me to being aware of overheating and making sure that we're staying cool. So again, since many outdoor barbecues happen outside in the summertime, there can be some heat issues, right? So making sure that we are paying attention with the people around us and ourselves and looking for those possible symptoms of, heat exhaustion or heat stroke, those types of things. So faintness, dizziness, excessive sweating, a weak rapid pulse, nausea, heartache, muscle cramps, behaving oddly, vomiting. Those are all things to be aware of. If you start feeling not great when you're out in the heat, making sure that we're taking breaks, so cooling off in the shade. If you're at home or at a relative's or a friend's house, making sure that you take some time to go inside to take a break, maybe rinsing your face with some cool water, drinking some cool water, wearing proper attire. So hats, loose fitting clothing, sunglasses, those are all good ways to kind of beat the heat as well. And then, of course, staying hydrated, which connects us right to the point we talked about before. So what way do you guys like to stay cool during those hot summer barbecues? I know that when I was growing up and we had family get-togethers with those hot summer barbecues, we would do water balloon fights, which was super fun, of course, away from the grill. But just curious, what do you guys sit in the shade? Yeah, that's good. They also have these really cool things that I just discovered. Oh, jumping in the pool, nice, yeah. I found these really cool things. They're called cooling towels. I've never seen them before, but my mom introduced them to me, and it's like this kind of like mesh towel, and you rinse it underwater, and then you squeeze it out really, really well, and then you put it on your face, and it actually, I don't know, the material, and then something with like the air or something like that, and like interacts, and it makes it really nice and cool. It feels really good. Yeah, Denise, yeah, they work great. They really do. I was in Florida a couple of weeks ago. It was super hot, and we had those cooling towels, and it was amazing how much better they felt after we like touched our face with these cooling towels. But yeah, that's an option too. So jumping in the pool, using the cooling towels. Yeah, they're great. They're great. Okay, awesome. So you guys knew about those. That's so good. I'm late to the game here. Awesome. Yeah. So wearing one when in the garden. Yes, that is a great way to stay cool as well. So just a couple of fun different ways that you can stay cool. Making sure again that we're paying attention to that, making sure that we are paying attention and staying cool when we need to. Because it's no fun to feel sick and feel bad when we're at these fun barbecues, right? All right. Tip number 10, protecting our skin. So it is really important to protect our skin. So wearing sunscreen, hats, loose fitting clothing, a couple of different ways that you can protect your skin. Using broad spectrum sunscreens with SPF values that are higher than 15. So 15 or higher regularly and as direct. So I know that sometimes I'm guilty of putting sunscreen on once during the day and then not putting it on again the rest of the day, which of course we know does not actually work. So making sure we're using them as directed. I believe it's maybe 80 minutes or something like that on most sunscreens, making sure we're reapplying them as needed. If you're sweating a lot or if you're getting, jumping in the pool to stay cool, whatever it is, making sure that you're reapplying that sunscreen and using that sunscreen. Every 2 hours. Yeah. And then more often if you're, sweating in the pool. And then using enough to cover your entire face and your body. So I know a little dab here, a little dab there, but you want to make sure that you're using enough to cover your entire face and your entire body. All right. Next tip, reducing waste. So when we're at barbecues, a lot of times we're using those, paper plates or styrofoam plates and cups and whatever it might be. So there are lots of things that you can do to actually make sure that you're reducing that waste. So using reusable, recyclable, or compostable plates. Silverware, napkins, some really good examples of that are bamboo, which is sustainable, ceramic, which is washable, or there's, different paper plates and such that are recyclable as well. Storing the extra food in reusable containers, just making sure that they're staying cool if you're outside. So again, if you're going to bring home some of that food, put them in the reusable containers and then make sure that you're putting them in a cooler or in a refrigerator to make sure that they stay food safe. And then this one might be an interesting thing to think about because I don't know if many of us think about this, but making sure that we are preparing less food than you think you might need. Because I don't know about you, but if you've ever been to a barbecue, I feel like a lot of food gets wasted at barbecues. Raise your hand if you, or you can type it in the chat or unmute yourself if you agree that usually at barbecues, there's way more food than is needed. Or maybe you guys are just really good at making sure that you have just the proper amount of food. I know I really need to work on that though. Oh yeah, definitely. Always lots of leftovers. Yes, there always are. So definitely making sure we're not wasting those leftovers, just making sure we're storing them properly and keeping them safe so we can eat them later. And then our last tip is, oh, yes, the habit my husband is trying to get me to change. I know, because you buy all this food and you spend all this money and then you're like, oh my gosh, I have like 10 days worth of food, right? So I totally get that, totally and completely. All right, tip number 12, making sure that we are having fun. So barbecues are a great time to invite friends and family over and giving yourself that self-care time that you need. Give yourself permission to relax, to have fun, to enjoy yourself, and just, be happy, be great, have everything going on in your life. It's just a wonderful, wonderful place to do barbecues. And then also making sure you have things to do at the barbecue. If you don't want to just talk with people, there's tons of things you can do at barbecues to add some more fun to those days. You can play games like frisbee or cornhole or wiffle ball. You can get a deck of cards and play some cards. Or of course, if you just love the social aspect of it, just talking and hanging out with your friends and family as well. So with that being said, I want to know from you guys, when is your next summer barbecue? This weekend, this Saturday. I figured that's why I asked that question. I know we have a holiday weekend falling upon us, and so I totally understand that happening mid-July, Monday. Yes. All right. Well, I hope that these tips can help you have a very wonderful and very successful time at your barbecue. So these are the recipes that you guys will be receiving after this class. You are going to receive a recipe for grilled salmon with cilantro ginger sauce, a grilled chicken with a peach cucumber salsa, grilled tomatoes stuffed with goat cheese, garlic, and basil. This one is fantastic. Grilled pineapple with lime dip, also absolutely. I mean, they're all fantastic, but this one is probably my favorite. This grilled pineapple with the lime dip. It's such a nice sweet treat. Also, it's pineapple, and I love grilled pineapple, so it makes a really, really delicious side dish at your barbecues. Okay, so did we talk about the difference between barbecuing and grilling, receive tips on how to make summer barbecues well done, leave with a few healthy summer barbecue recipes? All right. I'm so glad to hear. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so glad to hear you guys think these recipes sound yummy. thank you so much for coming. I am going to drop a survey into the chat right now. If you don't mind filling out this survey, you also will receive this survey in the follow-up email. But if you don't mind taking the survey, this really helps us shape our future classes, and it's just a great opportunity for us to learn from you guys what you would like to learn about in our classes. So I hope you take a second. I'll leave this up here for a second. So while you guys are filling out that survey, I'll also leave this up here as well, so you can kind of look at this information if you need help at finding any of these Bronson services. If you want to look back at any of this information that we talked about, these are the sources. And so with that being said, I appreciate you all being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a fabulous holiday weekend if that is something you celebrate. And I will hopefully see you guys at our next class.